Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 50 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to build some railway components, and then we are going to plan on doing some oil processing. Enjoy! Okay, rail signals are done. Let's see, what else? We can kind of clean up a little bit here by researching explosives. Then that'll let us make cliff explosives, but there are no cliffs, so there's nothing to blow up, but it is some research to get out of the way. We can research laser technology. Can't do anything without the military packs, but let's just take care of that. Same with chemical processing. It's kind of a empty technology, so let's just research that. And let's do oil processing so we can process those oil sands. So it unlocks the oil refinery and the petrochem oil tank, so we can process crude oil into the base components. Specifically, the thing we're going to need for the cargo drones is fuel oil. Mineral oil is a lubricant, and naphtha we can use to make plastic. And gas condensate is something that we would use with the byproduct from making natural gas. So we're specifically doing this for the oil refining. But then we can go in here and do transport system, which unlocks the drones, the fuel depots, and all of that. And of course the road surfaces, but all this stuff is things we can make, so let's research that. And while we're here, let's research the circuit network for the depots as well. We unlocked the new reverse factory, so we'll pick that one up, make the new one from it, and drop it back down. And there we go. Now it can process more complicated things, where we had those fluid burning generators that it couldn't process before, but now it can. And let's build our car. Which, if we build some roads, we can actually get around quite quickly with this. This will be useful for getting around the factory for sure, as long as you're good at driving. I won't worry about making any of the locomotives or anything on the bus right now, because we're not going to need that many. And here's all the stuff we'll need for trains. Rails, bridges, train stops, rail signals, and chain rail signals. I'm seeing some flickering. Ah, look at that. We are maxing out our factory just a tiny bit, but we are. Wonder what's using all the power. Just the science, I guess. Yep, just the science moving at full blast. Okay. Well, one last thing I haven't really upgraded is the steam engines. From steam engine 1 to steam engine 2. That will definitely improve output a little bit. I do kind of want to update this side to look like this side, so it's a repeating pattern. So we can pick this up. Now we have a whole bunch of steam engines to replace. The ratio of water to boilers to steam engines is the same for the solid fuel burning steam engines like these. The only thing that might change are inserters or belt speed. And just like that, all the noise stops because the solar panels are up. And speaking of solar panels, if we want them all to be balanced with our steam engines, we'll need to build some more to match our increased power generation. Okay, everything's upgraded to red. Let's just assume that the belt can handle all of that. Won't really know until later. It's stress tested, but let's just assume everything will be okay. And let's calculate how much power and solar panels we need to power all of this. Every setup has 20 boilers, which needs 40 steam engines, and we have 2 of these, so that's 80 steam engines. And each one puts out 1.8 megawatts. So 80 times 1.8. Correct? Yep. So we need 144. And I don't think I wrote down anywhere exactly what the power output of this is. But it's 107 times 16 plus 26.67 times 16. So 107 times 16 plus 26.67 times 16. So it is 2.139 megawatts. So 144 divided by 2.139 means we need 67, or let's say 68 patterns. How many patterns do we have right now? Well, 544 divided by 16 means we have 34 patterns. So 68 divided by, or minus 34, and we need another 34, which I guess that makes sense because this doubled the output, but it's good to check the math and make sure everything looks right. So we need 544 larges and 544 smalls. So we'll come in here, set that to 544, and it will start going. And 544. And that will take a long while to catch up, but eventually it will. Okay. I believe we were working on rail components. As far as bridge type, we can either do wood, stone, or steel. Stone probably makes the most sense. I know that wood is infinite, but we have so much stone, why not just use more stone? So we need to do regular rails, stone rails, train stops, rail signals, chain rail signals. Looks like these all require fairly similar resources. Since rods are up here, actually we probably can all do this in one long line, since they require similar resources here. So let's do one building for each. And then start with rail. See, we need to make these iron rods. This require 4 machines, so we should probably handle that first. So 4 assembly machines making rods. Let's see, let's swing this down and then back up. Let's connect it to get some light. So let's do rails, bridges, and then stations. So rails, bridges, stations. And I don't think these feed into each other. Rails, bridges, stations. Each one of these requires steel and rods. Actually, if we make this red, we can bring the steel in right there. There we go. So we'll have rods and steel. Then we need brick and stone. And we'll do that on this side here. Let's see, let's do that. See, that covers it for that side. But I kind of want to have some space in the middle for the chest, because I want to run belts on the other side here because we need to do the iron plates and electronic boards. Oh, but I guess we can do that in one go here. So rail signal and chain signal. So iron and circuits will come in up there. Oh wow, we're actually going to need an entire belt of iron plates to fill this up. Well, in that case, I think I'll space them. It's probably not necessary, but oh well. We can make use of the crawler a little bit, and its slow robots. So it will take priority here, so. So a little slower than the nanobots, but they're infinite. So we'll put chest right there, chest right there. Actually, since we'll be using large quantities of both, we probably should put the steel chest in there. And a circuit network. Let's just set it for 100 for now. We'll probably need a lot less of these other kinds. So a single limited chest will work. And that ought to do it. Let's copy it. And let's move it, and let's use the robots to do it. They're pretty fast when they don't have to travel very far. And we can place it right here. 2 spaces over. Boom. And now we need to get all the resources in here. Alright, let's hook all this up and see how it works. Okay, and then the stones. Looking good. Iron number 2. And the circuits, which we have no hope of keeping up with, but that's okay. We want to set it up to be balanced, so if later on the factory can keep up, then it will all work out. Looks like it's mostly green. I think it fell behind on this one inserter right here, which means we technically need 2. And just like that, it's all done. Looking good. Looks like the factory is definitely starting to fall behind on some resources. It looks like it is tin that we are low on. Yeah, tin is not moving very fast. It's moving as fast as it can, but there's just not much of it there. Our bobmodium patch is getting small. It's not so much that we're running out, it's just it takes a long time to mine the bobmodium. We can't really keep up, so we need a larger patch just so we can get more miners in there. There's actually a bobmodium patch that's not that far away out here. But if we were to mine from that, all the biters would start attacking, so we're really at the point where we need to build a wall, and I'm starting to get ready for that by having ammo and turrets and wall sections and all that stuff. The kind of last little bit here is that we want to have these transport drones. basically just a easier way of moving ammo all the way to the wall, wherever up here it is, because this belt right here is a huge amount of resources stuck on it. It's just unnecessary to have long belts like that running really far distances when there's really no reason to. So now we have the technology to build transport drones. But the last step here is we need to fuel it, because they run on a liquid fuel, and you could change what that liquid fuel is in the mod settings, and it's all the way at the bottom, making it easy to find. But transport drone fuel, and I put in liquid fuel oil as the fuel for it to use, because it just uses the stock petroleum, and that fluid doesn't exist in Angel Bob's, so you need to have something else for it to use. So I did fuel oil. The reason being that fuel oil is one of the things we're going to get from crude oil without doing any other additional processing to it. And otherwise, the only other thing we would really use fuel oil for is fuel, burning it, basically. That's the whole point. That's why it's called fuel, because the point is to use it for fuel. So that makes sense. So we need to set up some oil sand mining and turning that into crude oil. Let's start a new line. Let's say our goal is oil refining. Who knows how this is going to work out. Let's just say 1 for now, see if we can find a ratio. So we need crude oil. And the two ways available to us right now are mining it out of the ground or mining it from oil sand. And oil sand is the Mad Clown's way of doing it, and that seems easier. There's less byproducts, so let's just do that. Where steam goes in, as well as the oil sand, and then residuals and crude oil come out. So that's not a good ratio. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. 11 liquefiers to 5 oil refineries is a good ratio. So now we need the oil sand. And let's just do the standard sand for now, not a vein or anything. It'll require 16.5 mining drills. How big is this patch? It's real hard to see with the concrete. There it is. We don't have radar on it. But it's got 2 million, which is quite a bit. And I imagine we can easily fit 15 miners on there. It'd be nice if we can use this opportunity to get rid of that naphtha as well. So do we have any of those recipes unlocked? Not yet. There's a couple of different things you can do with it, but in the beginning here, basically what we'd want to do is turn it into liquid plastic. Let's see if that is something reasonable to do here. So plastic is made from propene, and we can crack naphtha into propene. So that is something we can do with it. The mineral oil is probably a little less useful. It goes into lubricant. And that's not really something we're working on yet here. So we might have to dump the mineral oil. Unfortunately, because there's just not that many things it goes into. We can crack mineral oil into synthesis gas, but that's a blue science technology, so that's kind of far away. So we might just have to dump the mineral oil for now, but we won't really be producing that much. Well, to take this ratio further here, let's get it to the steam cracker. So first step is hydro refining, which I am intentionally waiting on until we need to, because it's a complicated process of putting purified water in and crushed stuff and then getting chunks out, but geodes and wastewater and even more resources. So we need that, but we're only researching it now so we can get to steam cracking here. We also need advanced chemistry, which unlocks the second electrolyzer, which would be nice. We can synthesize methanol or formaldehyde. And then the green catalyst is made from aluminum and silver, neither of which we have. I guess that's why we needed to research hydrorefining first, because that's how you get it. And liquefier 2 would actually be kind of convenient as well. We can make all those things. Then we'll get access to steam cracking. This gives us the steam cracker. And if we add a green metal catalyst and naphtha, we can turn it into a butadiene, something like that. However you say that. Or with the standard red metal catalyst, we can turn it into propene. And that's what we're going to be doing with it. I was looking here, there is a dump for that lubricant that we can turn it into powder refining here. Where basically you take the ferrous mixture or cupric mixture, which is the mixture of 3 different angel's ores, and you can crush it down further using lubricant, and then you can get a little bit more resources out of it. So that is kind of a place to dump it, but we'll see how we clog on that. It wouldn't be that difficult after we have access to all of the different resources to do that. So that is, just keep in the back of your mind, something to do with that lubricant if it piles up. So we potentially have a dump for it that doesn't involve getting rid of it, because I hate just throwing resources away. And then we turn that propene gas into plastic. But to do so, we need to research the gas steam cracker as well, which is the way you crack the natural gas resources. So methane goes in, methanol comes out, ethane goes out, or ethylene comes out, butane goes in, or benzene comes out. Or you can do synthesis with methanol turning into propene, which is what you would do if you were turning your green algae or your wood into plastic. Why is it not letting that get researched? Oh, I think we need also to research plastics here, which just lets you make plastic pipes. I'm not sure if those are better than what we have access to. Underground length of 19. They are better, so we can upgrade to those. Be kind of expensive though, considering it's made out of plastic. But we'll hit that. And now we can research plastic bars. Basically, I wanted to handle all of that, so we won't just have all this naphtha sitting around, that we'll actually have something to turn it into. Because that's kind of the complication of dealing with oil products, is that you turn one oil product into many oil products, so you need to kind of have something to do with all those resources if you want to have a closed loop system. But we'll let those things keep researching and try to take this a step further. So the fuel oil is something that we want, and the mineral oil is something that we want, so all's good there. And we have a nice clean ratio. And another thing you could do with a naphtha is you can just burn it if you want to. It is something that can be consumed for energy. But since we have solar panels, there's really not a lot of use right now to finding all these things to burn, because we may not be able to burn it. We may not have the electricity demand necessary to burn all this stuff. So we're researching it right now, so it won't appear. So show disable. So we will take the red metal catalyst and naphtha, turn that into propene, and link by input. So we need 1.7 steam crackers. Then the propene goes into liquid plastic. But advanced chemistry unlocks the second liquefier, so we can upgrade that to liquefier 2. And actually, this can be upgraded to liquefier 2 as well, which probably changed the ratio a bit. Yep, kind of. There we go. 10 to about 15 liquefiers is the new ratio. So that definitely increased output a little bit here. I don't know if we're going to be able to mine it fast enough to keep up with this. But 2 liquefiers. Turning that propene into liquid plastic, and then the liquid plastic gets made in 2 assembly machine 2s. So it's really not that much. It's kind of interesting to think that 34 miners worth of drills and all of this processing, and then in the end all you need is 2 assembling machines to make the plastic, and we'll only get 2.1 bars a second, despite mining 66.7 oil sands to begin with. And plastic is definitely something we can make use of. So as far as inputs, we need to do the red metal catalyst. And that's just a fraction of an assembly machine, which I'll have no problem at all keeping up with that. And the copper ore and iron ore is small. And the last thing is steam. Kind of waiting for this to complete here, so I can add something new to the research queue. We're definitely being slowed down by tin production right now, for sure. And that's it for this episode. On the next one, we're going to need to do something about those resources. So we're going to go out and kill some biters and build a wall. I'll see you later.